Hello Devices 2, this is Professor Late. Today we're going to talk about Lab 3, Part 2, which is the voltage controlled oscillator. So we're going to start in on step 6 here of this lab, where we're going to connect up the VCO, which you see in the figure 41-11, and then we're going to change the potentiometer to see what happens. And then we're going to record our frequency maximum and frequency minimum. So here we have our voltage control oscillator circuit all hooked up. Here's our 555 timer. Those are the 3 resistors, one of them being a potentiometer. And then this looks familiar from part 1. Now we're going to start up the simulation and see what our oscilloscope is telling us. So remember, we have to pause to get a good look at this. Back this up a little. And we have our square sine wave. We're going to use our flags to measure the time it takes to have one full wave pass. And there we have our time of 1.2 milliseconds. So we need to calculate what this is for frequency. So punching in this time for the wave to go, one full wave to go by, into our calculators and then inverting it to find our frequency, we find that right now this circuit's producing a frequency of about 832 hertz. And that 832 hertz is with our potentiometer right there in the middle at 50%. Let's see what happens if we drop this down to 0%. So we're going to fire up our simulator and take a look at our oscilloscope. Once again, pausing. Okay, now once again we're going to move the flags to give us one full wave. All right, and now we're looking at 1.47 milliseconds per wave. So we're going to punch that into the calculator and see what the frequency is for this. So putting this time in of 1.47 milliseconds and then inverting it in our calculators, we find that this frequency is 679, almost 680 hertz. Let's see what happens if we increase our potentiometer up to 100%. So we have our potentiometer now at 100%. We're going to start up our simulation, open up our oscilloscope, and remember, we got to pause it so we can look at this. And we're going to set our flags. So we have our flag set for one full sine or one full wave. And we see that our time is now at 1.023 milliseconds. So once again, we'll put that in our calculator and figure out what the frequency of this wave is. And putting that time in, we find that our frequency is at 977.5 hertz. So this is the top end. So we're going to fill in that 977.5 hertz here, and then that other frequency that we found at 0% on the potentiometer. If you don't remember, you can go back in the video and find out, and that will go here for our lab. So remember that in addition to this, I want you to go ahead and snip this circuit. To do so, come down here to search, hit snip, or type in snip, and there's our snipping tool. We're going to click that. We're going to do a new snip. And then we're going to drag around the circuit for the part of the screen that we want to save. So there's the part that we snip. File, save as. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw this on the desktop of VCO, which is our voltage controlled oscillator. Save it. And there I have that, so that when I'm ready to put together my lab portfolio, I have this image to insert into this document. Well, this has been Professor Late for the second part of Lab 3. The next video that I'll put out is part 3, which is the final part of Lab 3. And I hope you have a wonderful corona-free day.